Hello guys, welcome back to Christian Finance for your daily financial content. And today is the main story. We're going to be covering the one and only Ray Dalio, talking about stagflation, why the Fed is not doing as good of a job as they could in the grand scheme of things. Before we get into this content-packed video, I just want to take a moment and ask you guys to please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It'll help me out immeasurably. Yes, I love what I do, but it does take a lot of time and effort. So once again, the only thing I'm asking from you guys is please subscribe to the channel. Now, yes, Ray Dalio is a controversial figure, and there are a few things I do disagree with him on. However, I don't think anybody can deny his ability to read the markets and really be one of the top guys when it comes to maneuvering in them. So let's quickly go and see what he has to say about the current conditions of the markets.
Are we close to having stagflation?
Yeah, we are in stagflation.
We are. Stagflation is simply where you have inflation, and yet at the same time you have high unemployment.
Yeah, you have economic weakness.
Right.
In other words, you have a stagnant economy. Stagnant, essentially means
meaning growth is
low
reduced.
Growth,
right.
Low growth, and with high inflation, and that happens through this monetary situation that I'm describing, in which the central bank tries to deal with a middle course. In other words, what does the central bank want? Not too high inflation and not too low growth. And so when there's a lot of debt, because one man's debts are another man's assets, it becomes very difficult balancing act. And that is when you have stagflation, when you produce it.
So I agree with pretty much everything he had to say. Unfortunately, realistically, the US and other major global economies are either already experiencing or very close to being in actual stagflation, which just means that the economic growth rate is slow while the inflation is still being high. As we can see right here, this is a graph of inflation of the last 40 years. For us to get back to that 9.1% number, and this is literally the number from last month of how high inflation was, which is crazy. Now, really quickly, I'm not a financial advisor. Please go and do your own research. This is just based on my own. And really quickly, although yes, the markets are somewhat recovering, I really do believe this is a fake rally, simply because when the markets go down really hard for a long time, which has happened in the past 2 months, they have to do a small correction, right? It's just natural, but it doesn't mean that the downward slope has ended, right? As we can see right here, the Dow Jones, yes, it's up 4% in the past month. In the midterm of things, I do not see us being in a positive situation, right? As we discussed, we're in a stagflation, right? Inflation rate is high. The economic growth is slowing down. There's still supply shortages. The war is still looming around. There's still bear bugs and other viruses that we're dealing with. And the interest rates are increasing, right? So those are all negative things. So personally, I do see the Dow Jones correcting another 20%. So that would be around a $26,000 market based on my research. And Bitcoin, although yes, I am a big crypto believer in the long run, I do see Bitcoin correcting down to 16,000, right? That's a target market I'm looking at, between 16 and 17. I don't think we're going to go all the way down to 10,000, simply because when everybody in the bull run was thinking we're going to hit 100,000, we only reached around 69,000. So I think the same thing is going to happen here, where everyone's expecting 10K and we're actually going to get that 15 to 16K mark. But then again, from here, that'll be another 25 to 27% correction, right? Right here, those are very important dates coming up, the 26th and 27th of July. This is when the US Fed's going to have another meeting. And in my opinion, we're going to see at least 0.75% to 1% increase in the interest rates in order for them to have any chance of battling that inflation, of which again is 9.1%, which is a 40-year high, right? Again, we have a lot of problems that we have to deal with. Personally, I'm a big Michael Burry fan. And once again, this was end of June, and he's saying that the S&P is down 25 to 26%, Bitcoin 64 to 65% down, and he's saying maybe halfway there. Then he had another tweet that he deleted, which said minus 50% to go, right? Which he posted probably a week ago, and he was saying that we're halfway into the recession. So you guys can do the math on that, on how low we're actually going to be going if he's correct. And he has been correct on a lot of things. There's a reason why at the end of 2021 and beginning of 2022, we had Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos selling a bunch of their shares from Tesla and Amazon, respectively. And also we had Mark Zuckerberg selling a bunch of his Meta shares too. I mean, it's a problem when you have some of the biggest CEOs in the world selling off their shares, right? Again, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I just don't see this correction or crash coming to an end in the short run. Once again, in the long run, we're going to be fine, right? The stock market's going to survive. Bitcoin will be here. A lot of altcoins will die. That's a topic for a different video. I've made tons of videos about that. You guys can go check it out. But the high conviction stocks and most high conviction cryptos are going to be here, right? In 5 to 10 years from now. It's just in the short term, we're in a tricky spot. And once again, the greatest investor of all time, Warren Buffett, right? Although we don't agree on Bitcoin, I do view him as the greatest of all time when it comes to investing. And guess what? All of last year, when everything was all-time high, he was either selling or holding, right? Right now, this year that everything has been falling, he's actually been starting to purchase. He purchased a lot of Oxy, Occidental Petroleum, Apple, right? In fact, he actually said that the only reason why he didn't buy more Apple this year is because it didn't go any lower. Just like Warren Buffett, these are the times that when you have done your research and you have high conviction about a certain stock or crypto, such as Bitcoin, that is when you want to invest in it, right? When it's at a low. Remember, be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. It's one thing knowing the quote, but it's a whole other thing actually going and implementing it and following in Warren Buffett's footsteps, right? Who actually came up with this quote. With this, guys, this is the end of the video. It was a very information heavy. I hope you guys were able to digest everything. I would love to hear your guys' perspective and opinion on what you think is going to happen next. Do you think that the recession is over and we're going to start slowly recovering up? Or do you think this is just a fake pump and we're actually going to be going down in the midterm? I would love to hear your guys' perspective on that. Once again, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out tremendously. And as always, guys, stay diversified.